Hello, cloud gurus. In this module, we'll be deploying Kubernetes in a number of different ways. And the cool thing about Kubernetes is it's just software and you can deploy it just about anywhere today. So let's talk about that. Where can you run Kubernetes? Well, you can run it in the public cloud in a variety of different ways. You can roll your own with your own instances on any cloud platform, on Azure, on AWS, on Google Cloud Platform or GCP, simply by creating a Linux instance and then installing Kubernetes. Or you can use a managed Kubernetes service that all of these cloud providers have made available, where they have created their own Kubernetes master control plane. They have their own worker nodes. They manage and scale that as needed. And essentially, you just define what it is that you want to deploy. Amazon has EKS, the Elastic Kubernetes Service. Google has GKE, the Google Kubernetes Engine. And Azure has AKS, the Azure Kubernetes Service. All of these managed Kubernetes offerings make running Kubernetes super easy, and you simply pay for what you consume. And then, of course, you can run Kubernetes on premises as well. You can install Linux on a physical server and then install Kubernetes on top and create a cluster of physical hosts to build a physical Kubernetes cluster. You could use virtual machines, of course, running inside a hypervisor such as VMware vSphere, Hyper-V, or KVM. And that's also a great way to build a virtual lab, a virtual Kubernetes environment. And there are numerous Kubernetes lab and testing options. For example, you can run virtual machines in VirtualBox, VMware Fusion, VMware Workstation, and others on your local desktop or laptop computer and build a Kubernetes cluster inside. You can use Docker Desktop, which now has built-in Kubernetes functionality. You can use the online Play with Kubernetes website, and it's super easy to deploy Minikube on Windows or Minikube on Mac. And I'll be walking you through all of these virtual Kubernetes lab options in this course step by step. But there are a few limitations that you need to be aware of. First off, Docker Desktop and Minikube specifically create single node training environments, which are still very useful, but if you want to mimic a production environment, you would have multiple nodes, and that's not possible today with Minikube, for example. And then on the other hand, if you run Kubernetes out on the cloud for testing and learning, you're going to have to pay based on your usage. And now there are some free tiers out there, as well as credits available that you'll want to make sure that you look into. And finally, if you choose to use managed Kubernetes like I talked about, for example, EKS on AWS and AKS on Azure, you'll be able to run your workloads and gain some knowledge with Kubernetes, but because you won't have access to the control plane and the master nodes, you might not gain all the Kubernetes experience that you'd like to. So with those deployment options in mind, it's now time to get started deploying Kubernetes. I hope you'll join me in the next lecture.